The assignment you guys have to do today. So let's take a look, right? So the machines took over and we're part of the remaining survivors. And the AI is really bored, and all day long they torture us with making us play these really dumb games they invent, right? So we're going to have to make a clone of the website they created so we can try to hack in there or something. So they made a version of rock, paper, and scissors for us. So we have to say rock, paper, or scissor. Except the machine is really dumb and will only ever choose rock. So what do you think will happen if I choose rock as my answer against the machine that's definitely going to choose rock? Anyone have a guess? What's going to happen?
Draw.
Yeah.
What's that?
A draw.
A draw, correct. So the machine tried to bash our rock, but they just both chipped. No winner, right? Click refresh to play again. So we're going to choose paper, but the robot is always going to choose rock. So who's going to win?
Paper.
Yeah, we're going to win. So machine chose rock, tried to bash us up, but we wrapped him up, so we won. And then finally, we choose scissors, which I never could spell when I was preparing this. And scissors versus rock, we're going to lose, right? So the machine's going to bash us up. So that is what you're going to build today. And then there's some bonus projects, which I'll let you kind of discover on your own. It'll be fun, maybe. So any questions on that? Well, obviously, we're going to spend the next hour building stuff that's similar. But any questions on the overview of the objective for today?
Is it the machine only choose the rock, right?
Yeah. Yes. Because today we're not getting into math.random or being able to choose something randomly or arrays. So I had the machine just always choose rock. Because that's all
for the bonuses, do we also just add the link to it in the same submission, I guess?
Yeah, I'll make sure to do a text submission so you can do a few. Yep. All right, so give me a justification. What you just saw, what you're looking at right now, this is a website, right? Can we use the tools we've already learned? Because we never should reach for a new tool if we can already build what we want to build with old tools. We want to make our learning as deep as possible, not as wide as possible. So can we build this with HTML and CSS? What do you think? Calypso's shaking her head immediately. Calypso, why can't we build this?
Because it uses I think an if-else loop. So you can't do that in HTML?
That's exactly right. It's making decisions. It's using conditional operations, logical conditioning. Yeah. Other reasons we can't build this with HTML and CSS?
It uses an input from the user.
Yes.
So there's an interactivity to it.
That's the biggest one. So we have interactivity we can input here. And we can input a little bit in HTML, but with forms, but nothing like taking our input and making decisions based on that, for sure. So we need JavaScript to be able to build what we want to build today. And what is JavaScript? Vanessa?
It's a programming language that allows you to build interactive websites.
Wow, that was such a perfect answer. Yeah, that will allow us to add interactivity to our websites. And even we're in the realm now where we can stop really calling them websites. They're going to become web applications, right? Because it's more than just visual. They're interactive now. So why is interactivity so essential? On YouTube, we're live right now, but what is interactive about YouTube?
The search feature?
Yeah, so being able to search for a video, not possible without JavaScript, right? That was a great one.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Another interaction, only possible with JavaScript. What else, Sadiq? What are some interactions?
If you hover over the video, like it's playing a preview of the video.
Yeah, this is probably only possible with JavaScript, right? Although we do have a pseudo selector for hover, but yeah, getting the video to play on hover is, yeah, definitely some JavaScript involved. What about if...
Welcome back to another...
Oh, this is crazy, right? Who uses ad blockers on YouTube? Oh, only a few of you. Oh, half of you. Okay. I cannot believe it's against like terms of service, their TOS, to use it. That's wild. Like, I can't imagine using YouTube.
Actually, if you keep watching videos and ignoring that, or like it will eventually tell you that you have 3 strikes, and after the 3 strikes, it blocks your account.
Wow, that's
yeah.
I've
wild.
never had that pop up.
They just added it.
I have ad blocker, and I never had that come up.
It's
on
brand
YouTube.
new. Brand new.
It's rolling out slowly, but yeah, like
Wow.
if you watch 3 videos and like ignore their thing, and after third strike, they just block your account watching any videos.
I mean, they're gonna win. I'm gonna pay the $10 because I can't risk my account being blocked.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. Okay, so what's some interactions when we're watching a video? Monica?
Would it be like the liking and sharing?
Yeah. So exactly, this is only possible with JavaScript. Let's do one more, but I think you guys get the idea, right? All right. I always use the same sites. Does that, like, ZO2, what's a site you use like daily? I don't know why I snapped.
Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit. Very nice. So Reddit's a good example, right? So what's some interactions here, ZO2?
Like scrolling. Is a huge
No,
one.
not scrolling.
Is that how is that not interactive?
Scrolling we can do in our sites. The YouTube site you just made is you can scroll. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like upvoting, downvoting.
Yes. Upvoting, downvoting, comment, sharing. Yep, for sure. Okay. You guys get the idea, right? So we want to use JavaScript. So how do we use JavaScript? Yeah, let's go there. How do we use it? So we're going to create a new folder for this lecture. What are we building today? We can just call it lecture. And we can CD into it. And I'm going to open it up in VS Code. I'm going to make a new file called index.html. I'm going to use the boilerplate HTML. And now here, how can I start using JavaScript? So I've been convinced that it's awesome and I want to use it. Pimpa, how can we start to use JavaScript?
Create another file.
Yes.
And name index.js.
Yep.
And link put some tag. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm going to have you guys do a script tag and choose the source option.
Yeah.
And press tab. And then in here, you have to point it to where your JavaScript file is, right? Also, this isn't important today, but there's an attribute called defer that will be important tomorrow. And it basically says to the browser, load my JavaScript after you've done all your other work. But it'll be way more clear. Sorry, not tomorrow. Next week. Yeah. And then the developer's favorite function, or I guess technically method, is going to be console.log, right? So we can say hi.
Question.
What?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've always learned that you put the script in the body. Is that not supposed to be in the body?
You can put it in the body, except you have to be careful that it goes at the very end. It doesn't matter at all, but visually I don't like it in the body. I don't really have a strong reason why. Well, body is supposedly things that are visual, and script isn't visual, right? So I don't like it there, but it's totally personal preference. Yeah.
And does it have to be at the bottom in the
No.
in the head? It's
No,
fine
not at
anyway.
all. The ordering here doesn't matter at all, especially because when we're using defer, we're saying to do this last anyway. But I have to put it there because that's where I always put it. So, okay, so we have console.log, right? And this is a way we can send ourselves, the developer, messages from the running code, which is really cool for debugging and just building applications, right? It's incredibly useful. So, so where does this JavaScript run, right? I'm writing it in VS Code, but where does it actually run? What do you think, Daniel?
The browser?
Yeah. The browser is the one that's interpreting the HTML, the CSS, and running the JavaScript. Sometimes that's confusing because we think VS Code is doing those things. It's not. It's all the browser. VS Code is doing some really sophisticated things and probably is maybe running JavaScript behind the scenes to do other stuff. But the mental model I want you to have is that it's the browser where all the magic's happening, right? So we're going to run our HTML as normal in the browser. But now when the browser loads up, it's going to come to this script tag and go download the script file from our computer and run it in the browser. And then when it runs the JavaScript, we'll see the console.log of hi in our console. So now we know this is running. Also, I use 2 forward slashes here. What are those? Mehdi? What are those 2 forward slashes?
It's to make a comment.
Yeah, so this will basically say, JavaScript engine, when you're interpreting or running our code, just ignore this comment. It's just a comment. Yep. Okay. Let's talk about the objective I have for building something today, and then let's go back to the fundamentals of JavaScript. So what we're going to build today, we're going to call Bouncer. And all it is, we have our website here. And then I want what is going to be called a prompt box to show up. And I want it to ask, how old are you? So this is like representing a bouncer in a club, right? And if we say 21 or more, the bouncer will say, come on in, right? But if we put an input that's less than 21, get out of here, right? So that's our objective. That's like the simplest app we can try to build right now. So to start off, how do we get a box to show up in our browser? So when I'm running this right now, no box is showing up, but we have a built-in function that can try to get input from the user. And what is that built-in function called? Farhan?
Prompt?
Yeah. So we can use this built-in function from JavaScript we get for free. And we'll learn about functions later, but we can put in an argument, so what goes inside the parentheses, and say, how old are you? Now when I press save and run this code, this prompt box shows up. And I put in 41, right? Press OK, and we don't see anything. Why don't we see anything? Izzy, why don't you think we see anything?
Because it's not receiving any information.
Yeah, we're not. Oh, I mean, the code ran to completion. We didn't ask it to do anything. So it's as if the 41 is floating here in our code, but we're not capturing it anywhere. So we can we can capture the input from prompt by using a variable. So that begs the question, right? What is a variable in JavaScript? Hopefully you guys aren't too, some of you are too bored by this lecture, but yeah, it's necessary because we have a lot of different coding skill levels, right? So that'll be a good refresher anyway. What is a variable in JavaScript? What is a variable in JavaScript? Zubida?
I think a variable is something you said and it can be varied. Like
Yeah.
you can change it basing on how you set it.
Yeah, that's a good. All I want you guys, the mental model I want you to have, it's an empty box in the computer's memory where we track a value. And that value can change. That's correct. So here's the mental model, right? We have an empty box and we can call it anything we want. What would make sense to call this one that I'm going to save eventually? The how old are you? What would be a good label for that value if you were designing this program? Victor?
Age.
Yeah, perfect. Age. So inside this empty box, eventually will be 41. But really, the empty box can contain anything. So then the question is, how do we declare a variable? So I know that I want to store the input of this prompt in a variable. How can I store a variable? Or sorry, how can I declare a variable? What are our two keywords? Maureen? Oh, you're muted. Yep. Still muted. There you go. I think nope. Yeah, still muted. Yeah. Lynn J?
Is it let and const?
Yeah, so we have let or const we can use. So here, if I say const age is how I declare a variable. And then what do I want it equal to? I said I want it equal to 41. And then to see if this worked, I can console.log age. And what will we see in our console, Calypso?
You'll see 41, but I also had a question.
Yes. What's your question?
Can't you also use var to declare a variable?
Yeah. Not in this course, but you can. Yeah. So that's going to be an older version of JavaScript.
Okay.
With some properties that we don't like for modern JavaScript. Some people would take exception to that, but that's how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to only use letter const in this course.
Got
if
it.
I see var, it's going to raise my eyebrow because a lot of times when I see var, it's because a student copied code that they have no idea what it does or how it works. So, yeah.
I was just wondering because in Code Academy, it said that was one of the things you could use. So I just didn't know if that's like something that people don't usually use.
It's pretty unusual.
I found out that you could. So there's like two reasons for it. One, var was always used in the older version. They made an update and created let, which actually does the same thing as var, but does a little bit more.
Stricter scope.
Think of it as the modern version of using JavaScript is using let.
Yeah.
While you're going old school using var.
Yeah, I always say it's evil twin. So var is let's evil twin. Yeah. Again, people would take some exception with what I'm saying, but I think that's a fine mental model for right now. But it involves something called scope, which is coming. It's a very important concept. The scope is different with var. But you guys are lucky you don't have to worry about it because we're not using it, just letter const. And you could go your entire career and just use letter const and never have to worry about var, except you will see it in legacy code. When you see it in legacy code, just remember it's kind of like let, but a little sloppy around the edges. Good questions, though. I like those kind of questions. Any others?
Yeah, should the age be 21 or 41?
What? 41. Is that a flattery joke? Thank you very much. But we like that for sure.
Oh right. Okay, yeah, I get it. I was thinking the age of drinking in the US.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thought something else. Okay. So now that my face is bright red, what were we doing? So we console logged age, right? And we see 41. Yeah. So we have our first variable. We use let or const. So what's the difference here? We have these two options, right? Which is kind of weird. Well, that's really a hot take, but I was about to say const is, in my opinion, kind of unnecessary. I don't know if I should be saying that. Probably not. Anyway, what is the difference between these two, right?
The difference between let and const?
Yeah.
So let is something that can be mutable or be changed, but const is always constant. Hence the word const, meaning it cannot be changed.
Yep. Yeah. So what would happen if I tried to do age equals 21, right? In a time machine? What do you think will happen?
You'll get an error.
Yeah, exactly right. Assignment's a constant variable. But if I use let, what will we see in the console now?
It'll change to 21.
Exactly. So that's how we declare a variable. That's what a variable is. Yeah. But now we should talk about, well, maybe we can hold off on that a little. So I don't want to hard code my age though, because I'm going to have many users using this website I build, I'm sure, right? So they're going to have all different ages. So instead of hard coding the age here, what should I do? Where should I put this let age equals? And what should I set the age equal to in this application? Izzy? What do you think?
Is it input? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so
Don't
our
remember.
goal again is to have this application that asks how old are you and makes decisions based on how old the person is. But our first sub-objective is just to save what they said in age. So what we want to do is just say let age equal to whatever their input is here. And then if I console.log age, we'll see what happens, right? So 23, we see the 23. But now the awesome part is nothing's hard-coded. So 45, and we see 45. Questions on that? So we've saved our first variable using a prompt. And this whole week, you're going to, unfortunately, because they're kind of annoying, but it's a necessary like pedagogical tool to use prompt.
Question.
Yes.
Should we worry about what type of variable it is? Like, is it a string, number?
Yeah, that's what I was debating, whether or not we talk about data types now or when it becomes necessary. But absolutely, we're going to talk about the different data types. And we can talk about there's no reason we can't talk about that now. So, this is, you know what? I'm going to hold off because this actually gets a little tricky. This actually gets very tricky. Sorry, guys. I have a cough that will not go away. Okay, so what do we have to do now in our application? So we have two decisions, two branches that our application can take once we get the user's age. It can be over 21 or 21 and over, and they can say, come on in, or less than 21, and we say, get out of here. So how can we make decisions in our code? How can we make this like branching behavior? Any suggestions there? Maureen, Maureen, is your mic working? Semsi, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here we would need a conditional statement.
Yeah, so we're going to use conditional statements, which is the fancy term for
If and if,
yeah.
else if and else.
Yep, exactly. So for this one in English, we basically want to say if the age is 21 or over, do something. We'll worry about the do something later. So how can we write that? How can we express that idea in code?
You can start with if, the keyword if, and then parentheses, age greater than 21, 21, and then braces.
Curly
outside,
braces, yeah.
And yep, braces. And here you can say console log, come on in.
Yes. Very nice. Okay, let's run this to see how that works, right? Although I do see a slight bug already. So how old are you? And I'll say 41, right? And I'm allowed in. Oops. I might need to refresh. 41. Oh. Okay. Okay. And we see come on in, right? Although we have to backtrack a second because, yeah, we have to backtrack a second. And we actually do have to talk about data types. So hold this code off, although it is the right thing. And we have to talk about data types because it's going to become important. So what are data types? Ketzerin?
I think there's something to change the volume. The one it in the store, the volume.
One more time?
Sorry, I got blank a little bit. The data type, the one is we have 3 data type: number, boolean, and string. It the box to store the date. Would like to say to save the data.
Yeah, definitely. So number, Boolean, and string are data types. And data types are kind of the different, types of info we can store in the box, right? In that empty box.
Yes.
And the ones we're going to do today are numbers, Booleans, and strings. So here's a very tricky question. What is age?
It's a string.
It's a string.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a number, right? But anytime we get user input, it's stored as a string data type. And then the question is, well, how do we, it sure looks like a number, right? Here, there's really no way to tell string versus number. So if we wanted to verify for ourselves, is there an operator, and we have to talk about what are operators, is there an operator we can use to determine the data type of something?
Type of operator?
Yeah, so now we have operators, and one of them is called type of, and we save this, and I put in 12, and we see string. So it gave us the data type of age. But what are operators now? So what are operators? Anything from the pre-work about operators? Lin J?
Sorry, I'm a bit rusty. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll help you guys out because this one's hard. So it's going to be reserved keywords like type of, or symbols like plus, minus, mathematical operators that transform one or more values in different ways. So here we have the example type of, which is an operator, and it's transforming the value age from the string, whatever it was, 23, into the string, string, right? Which is really weird. So yeah, instead of the number 23, we see the string. So that's called an operator. We'll get to operators you guys are more used to in a second, or we're going pretty slow. But Mondays we have to go longer because we took all that time with feedback and review. So unfortunately, we do have to go a little bit longer today. Anyway, questions on type of?
Do we not need to use parentheses or brackets when using age, type of?
No. So operators, I don't think you ever use parentheses. So that's going to be functions when you're invoking functions. I'm sure I could be wrong, but I can't think of any operator where you use. Yeah, I can't. Was if technically an operator? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think of it as one. But yeah. So traditionally with operators, you don't use parentheses, but that's a great question. Okay, so we know that age is a string. Can anyone else give me another example of a string? Oh, Lin J, was you raising your hands or fixing?
Well, you were saying another string, but I was like, oh, well, I know Boolean, which is the true or false.
Okay, let's go there, right? So we have another data type called Booleans, which can either be true or false. So if we put the type of operator before the Boolean true, what will this transform into?
Boolean?
Yeah, it'll be the string Boolean. And let me kill this for a second. Age is not defined. Oh, whoops. Oh. Okay, we don't need the high anymore. So yeah, right here, Booleans can be true or false, and that's it. It's kind of like the binary, right? 0 or 1. We have another, we have another operator, which is cool. We call this the bang operator. Does anyone know what the bang operator does? So I'm using the bang operator before the Boolean true. Anyone know what I'll see in the console.log?
It makes it not.
Yeah. So switch is switch is true to false and vice versa. Vice versa. I have no idea how to spell vice versa. Vice.
VICE. Vice versa. Yeah.
So what will we see in the console?
You'll still see Boolean because it's still a Boolean.
You'll see false.
Yeah, I deleted type of. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll see false. And then for fun, what will we see now?
True. Double
True.
negative.
Yeah, correct. And then we should talk here about another concept. Every value that's not a Boolean has an has a built-in property of either being truthy or falsy. So, give me an example of a string, Ellery.
Example of a string that is characters. So anything that has characters.
Yeah, some text. So now the weird part is, every value is truthy except these. Null, which we haven't talked about yet, but is another data type. Undefined. Null, undefined. What else? Falsy values. I need to cheat on this one.
Nan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nan.
Zero.
Oh, 0 is an important one. Oh, and the empty string. Yeah. So it's well, I was going to say it's easy to memorize these, but obviously I haven't. But these, if a value is not one of these, the value is considered truthy. So what does that mean to be truthy or falsy? When converted to a Boolean, it will be equal to true. And when converted to a Boolean, it will be equal to false. So I can convert something to a Boolean. Well, we'll actually pause there and go back to our challenge because that'll lead to using if, and you'll see Booleans in action, which will be easier. So let's uncomment the prompt we're trying to make, right? Okay, let's go back to our objective of trying to make this game. So now the question is, what is the type of age right now, the data type?
Right.
Semsi? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, someone said string, right? So it's always going to be string when it comes from the prompt. When we're comparing these values, is it useful for us to compare a string and a number in this case? So really, we need to convert the string to a number. So then the question is, how can I convert age, which is a string right now, we verified with type of, how can I convert that to be a number?
If you put a plus sign there before prompt, then it's gonna be a number.
And what is the plus sign called in this context? That's a tricky question, but it's functioning as an operator here. So it's a symbol that's converting a value into another value. Yeah. But in this case, it's converting a string into a number. The other option I kind of prefer, or not really prefer, but the other option is we have this built-in function called number where we can surround what we want to convert to a number. And now to verify this, I can console.log type of age. And what will I see in the console when I do that? David?
You'll see number.
Yeah, I'll see number, correct. Oops. Yeah, so now we're in a good place where we can compare age, which is a number, and 21. And it already did it, right? It said, come on in. But here's the weird thing, right? Age greater than 21 is what we call an expression. A piece of code that can be evaluated into a value. So what do you think age greater than 21, it is an expression, when JavaScript is figuring out our code, what does it evaluate to?
True or false, probably.
Yeah, but in this case where I put in 52, what does it evaluate to?
True.
Yeah, so it's as if JavaScript behind the scenes converts this to be the Boolean true. Yep. So we see the come on in. I said, however, in our diagrams that we didn't want to console.log it. We wanted to see it on the screen. So how can we see it on the screen?
We can use alert.
The what?
Alert.
Yeah. So instead of console.log, we're going to alert. Come on in. So how old are you? 21? Ooh, here's a problem, right? So here's a bug. Legally, you can drink at 21, but why didn't we see the come on in? Read it.
Because in the condition you stated age is greater than 21. We need to say age is greater or equal to 21.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So now we try, we try again, 21, and we get come on in. But now we also wanted to say to the kid, right, to get out, and we're not seeing that. So how can we do that? Mehdi? How can we tell the kid to get out of here?
Okay, so to tell we have to.
So when I put in 12, I want to see a box that says get out.
We make an else.
Yeah, exactly. So we can use an else statement, which will fire if this is false. And we can alert get out. So now, how old are you? 12. Get out. So now we've built our first bouncer application, right? Such an insane amount to cover, but I wonder if you're in a, well, first off, are there questions so far?
What if we have more than one if statements and we want to put it all together?
Yeah, that's a good question. So can we devise a application for that scenario where there's two conditions? So I only like to run if it's above 60 degrees and the wind is less than 10 miles per hour. How can I write an application that asks me the temperature, asks me the wind speed? If both are good, tells me to run or stay home. Let's design this. So first off, how can I get it to ask me the temperature? ZO2?
It's going to be prompt. And then, yeah, quotation marks, and then the question, what is the temperature? And then semicolon.
Mm-hmm. And, okay, so what is the temp? And I put in 76, right? And then it should do what else? But that's a good start. What else do we need to get it to do, Pimpa?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so how do we get it to ask me the wind speed? Daniel?
You could do another prompt.
Yeah.
With a string, what is the wind speed?
Yep. Okay. So that's fine. It'll ask me the temp. It'll ask me the wind speed. And now how can I do the logical decisions of saying if both are good, I want to be told that I should go run. So now we have two conditions we have to worry about.
You should probably store them in variables first.
Yeah, so we're going to need these in variables because we're going to need to reference them later. So how can I do that, Calypso?
You can write let temp equal and then prompt and then let speed or wind speed equal whatever.
Yeah, very nice. Now, does it make sense for these to be strings? Because we learned that they're always strings by default. Or should we?
No, so you could put them in the number thing with the little,
Yep.
or put the plus sign. Yeah, I was going to say you do the number one with the little.
Yeah. So now, either way, it totally works. So now they're both numbers. So now we're in a good place to do the logic. How do we ask this question in code?
You could put if, and then do the, yep, and then temp greater than or equal to 60. And then ampersand, ampersand.
Yeah. And what do you call that special symbol or reserved keyword that transforms things?
And I don't know. I just call them
Operator.
So now we have a what's called a logical operator. We call this the AND operator. And what it does is if both values are true, returns true. And if one or both are false, returns false. So here, if I say temp greater than equals 60 and what?
And wind less than or equal to, oh no, not less than 10 miles per hour, I guess.
Sure.
Not less than or equal to.
And then what did I want to do if those conditions are both true?
You could put an alert window that says go run.
Yeah. And let's test it, right? So the temperature is 70 and the wind is 3 miles per hour. Go run. Very nice. And let's get a fail condition, right? So how can I say, well, I'll do it real quick. So the temp is only 14 degrees and the wind is 12 miles per hour. No message. How can I get a message to appear? Izzy?
You want to do an else statement. So, and then put stay home. Oh, alert, stay home. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, let's run that one more time. The temp is 23. The wind is 11. Stay home. So now the important new thing here is this logical AND operator. So it combines the left, or it looks at the left, it's true. It looks at the right, it's true. Returns true. But what would I see here? What would this expression evaluate to? True and false.
It's gonna be false, I believe.
Yep, false. Whoops, false. Yeah. There's one more that's very similar. We have the logical OR operator. If either Boolean is true, returns true, right? So in this case, true or false, what will that evaluate to?
True.
Yeah, correct. True. Yeah. All right. Any questions on that? I think I'm going to let me browse real quick to see if there's anything. I think so. It's taking the input and it's saving it in a value, and then determined on that value what it is. It's doing different actions. So I think you're in a position where you can complete this assignment today. Yeah. Final questions though? Okay. Sorry for this very long one today. But Mondays are a little rough. All right, let me get you into the breakout rooms. Okay.
Are we going to see anybody's work from the week 1 project?
During code review, we can, if anyone has anything interesting they particularly thought was useful, yeah, we can do that during code review today, for sure. All right, rooms are open.